one of my biggest influences when I was in high school was Alex Coleman. He was a part of that state team that played Aurora in like 2008. He was a team captain, and it was a privilege of having a shadow to follow in and a torch to get passed to, and basically providing me with expectations of how you should approach playing football. Like if you want to go to play college football, you have to treat it like you're a professional. You have to work out. You have to do all of these things because this is how it's going to be, and it's how you want it to be if you want to perform at a high level. Other than that, my mom has always made sure that I was humble and always made sure that I understood the power of being a leader and not conforming to the environment that I was in.
Hello, everyone. This is author Tim Brown of the book Uncommon Athletes, Filled with Passion, Fueled by Purpose. And I'm excited today to have another great young man will be on the show today. First, I want to remind everyone to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button so I can continue to broadcast these shows. Today, I want to talk to a young man I've known for a while, Miicah Coleman. Miicah is a graduate of Columbus Eastmoor Academy and he attends the Ohio State University. And during his high school career, he was a great athlete, but also was a great student. And so I really want to get into that part about the student part and how he balanced that life of being a student and athlete. So Miicah, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Brown, for the wonderful intro. I just wanted to say first and foremost, I appreciate you for continuing to be my mentor and allowing me to have my opportunity to be on your platform.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's my pleasure. As I was thinking about doing this show, I was thinking about the fact that we have a lot of young men and young ladies who are top high school student athletes, and then they don't go on to play after that. And, we talk about pros and college players and what they do after sports, but I think it's important, particularly in this time that we're in this whole mental space, how an athlete, how a student handles that, go from glory in high school, your high school star, and then all of a sudden that's taken away from you, and then what goes from there. So for you, you were a top athlete in high school. How did you maintain being a top student as well? What motivated you to be a top student? Because you're already a great athlete. What was the academic part all about?
For me, it was understanding the principle of autonomy, and that's having control and being in control of your destiny. And I like to always go back to that because being a marginalized minority, young African American male, people tend to categorize you and try to box you in. So when you are prevailing and doing a lot and excelling in sports, they try to, oh, he's just an athlete. He's just this. He's from the inner city. He's just this. This is his only thing. And I always looked at myself like I'm not a one-trick pony. I want to be multifaceted. So that always carried over into the classroom. You give 110% on the field because I played football and that's what I'm most notable and have my successes in. But you also give 110% in the classroom, and it is going to overflow. It's like a yin and yang. It's a balance, and it's easy to do it when you're constantly practicing it at all times in all aspects of your life.
Yeah, speaking of that balancing act, how were you able to balance that expectation? Because you had to give up some things, parties or whatnot and all that kind of stuff to maintain that. How were you able to do all that? Because, people get hard on you a little bit. Come on, Miicah, let's go here, and how were you able to maintain that balance?
It comes from goal setting, having surrounding yourself with good people that understand your ideas and your plans, and also I would say time management. I didn't really have enough time for that type of stuff. I knew where I wanted to do. I knew where I wanted to be. I wanted to relieve the financial burden on my mom. So I wanted to make sure that I was putting in the work at all times and I was focused. So that meant going to school, working out, and going to my trainer right after that, then doing homework and staying consistent with it. That's what I wanted to do. And it's a process, and it's basically staying true to your discipline and really staying true to your work ethic and understanding that what you're doing isn't it may not seem like you're doing something right now, but it's going to benefit you in the future.
You have a concept that I talk about in my books about delayed gratification.
Exactly.
You know, you can have it all right now, or you can look at the back end and say, I know may not have it now, but I'm gonna get it. You know, if I just make
Hmm.
the sacrifice to achieve that. I know your family is very important to you and very important part of your support system. Can you talk about how they help you maintain this success or obtain this success so thus far?
Um, First and foremost, like it's a lot. So I didn't really have my father wasn't within my life, but I had a lot of father figures that made up for that. So with that being said, going into Eastmoor Academy, I had my cousins who basically displayed and provided me with an example of
Mm.
how to get it done within the classroom, how to do it within the field, and how to basically bring it all together. One of my biggest influences when I was in high school was Miiach Coleman. He was a part of that state team that played Aurora in like 2008. He was a team captain, and it was a privilege of having a
Mm.
shadow to follow in and a torch to get passed to, and basically providing me with expectations of how you should approach playing football. Like if you want to go play college football, you have to treat it like you're a professional. You have to work out. You have to do all of these things because this is how it's going to be, and it's how you want it to be if you want to perform at a high level. Other than that, my mom has always made sure that I was humble and always made sure that I understood the power of being a leader and not conforming to the environment that I was in. Because a lot of people talk down, and basically the city school gets a bad rep. Like when you come from an inner city schools, it's always, oh, they don't work hard or they don't do this, and they try to belittle us. And you don't it's easy to look at yourself that way just because that's what it is, but or not what it is, the perceived notion.
Mm.
But understanding who you are, and my mom did a good job at reflecting that, and just putting that within my mind, like you can do anything, is possible. All you have to do is stay down and stay true to yourself, and work hard.
Yeah, speaking of mom, I know she had you in a lot of different organizations, you know, to kind of help mold you and expose you to different things. You talk about some of those
Mhm.
programs you're involved in and the benefits of those.
I was involved in a lot. First, I was with FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, Boys Won't Be Boys with You, um, Franklin County Youth Council, Handshake of America, National Honor Society.
How did those experiences help you become the young man you are today?
Um, to be honest, it provided me it provided me with a perspective on how to act within different spaces and different avenues. So like being a 16-year-old, a 14, 15, 16-year-old, being within when places that are like more corporate and more political, and you have to, pivot and switch up your dialect, and make sure that you come suit and tie, and
Mm.
providing that experience. It was like an early look of how, like, okay, this is how I should act when I'm in a corporate setting, and that's something I carry with myself today when I go on the interviews and when I go to internships and stuff like that. And then providing in a more lax environment that's more catered to athletics, like Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Now that's a time where I can be a little bit free but still be focused, and basically provide some type of mentoring that will allow for possible give back, if that makes sense, like
Mhm.
actually helping kids out and just providing them with guidance.
So it sounds like you've been had a well-rounded experience, that
Yes.
allows you to be able to walk in different circles and be successful, and most
Yes.
importantly is knowing who you are. We talk about code switching and all that kind of thing. But the bottom line is we know who we are. Who we
Facts.
are. We know that God has blessed us. And so we can walk in those circles and still, be successful, so to speak. I had the opportunity to watch you play football and sports from elementary school all the way through high school. How have you been able to handle not playing organized sports?
Um, I would say so. My senior year, I made the decision that I was not going to play. I think it was January. And I ended my recruiting process a little bit early because I didn't really like the offers that I received. I had one school that was the first school to offer me. I only had one offer, and it was Artists and Broadest. And we took a trip out there. It's like a small town in West Virginia. And it was a good football program, but the campus, I felt like it didn't really fit what I wanted. So after that, I looked to myself, and I said that I want a little bit more. So when I got a few full ride, I was blessed to receive two full ride scholarships to Denison University and Ohio State, and I chose it. I chose Ohio State ultimately, and the first year was very, very difficult for me
Mm.
because going to like back to Howard, playing basketball. Like over the summer, you got a lot of people that like, oh, why aren't you playing this? Why aren't you doing all this? Why aren't you doing all that? So it was like I was dealing with imposter syndrome a lot,
Mm.
like feeling like, okay, did I everything that I do, was it for nothing? Um, did I really make the right decision? Who am I? And I started to understand that sports isn't my identity. I'm Miicah. I'm more than just the concept of sports. It was difficult at first, but it provided me with the opportunity to actually become a better person, and I'm forever thankful for it. So that is primarily the response that I had from not playing. But I also would like to say that in my experience, I feel like once you're an athlete, you're always an athlete,
Mm.
because that's how I approach everything. When it as far as collaborating, I'm gonna make sure that I'm the leader, and I'm gonna leave my impression and leave my mark within any space. And also within a competitive nature. Like if I see somebody that's performing at a high level, that means I got to start performing at a high level to make sure I'm at the top of my game. And I think that aspect has made it easier on me to not, play sports.
Yeah, I think what you're talking about is those life lessons, those
Yeah, yeah.
lessons that you learn, the teamwork, the competitiveness, the humility, being a team player, and all those lessons carry on into life. Uh, let's talk about how important our relationships are, because all those organizations you're involved in. Can you talk to young people how important it is to, people say there's a lot, you know a lot of people, but I always say, what does that person know about you? You know,
Hmm.
so what would you say that thing that someone knows about Miicah Coleman? What would they say about Miicah Coleman?
That I'm a diligent young man that desires more. I always ask questions. That's the biggest thing. I always want more. You say something, I have to question it. I want to understand your thought process. I want to understand your philosophy. I want to understand how you see it, your perspective, because I know how I perceive it, but it doesn't mean anything if I don't have the duality of it, the juxtaposition. And the testament of knowing a lot of people, it's knowing and getting your name out there, but it's also focusing on like your brand. What do you want to be remembered for?
Mhm.
When you leave that first impression, what do you say? What do you want to make sure that it's understood about your whole persona? And when it comes to playing sports and when it comes to being in the classroom, you have to make sure that your brand is the most important thing. Like you can't really be lax. You can't really be lazy. You can't if that's not a part of your brand, because it's really easy, being a man of color, to where you do one wrong thing and that's your whole brand. That's your whole persona. So it's really staying consistent and making sure that whatever you say you are, who you say you are, you're making sure that you're maintaining that at all times.
Wow, that's powerful. Yeah, that's your own brand. You got to know who you are, and that
Hmm.
reflects on others. And you only get one time to make a first impression.
Yes.
You only get that one time. Speaking of that, as we kind of come around the corner here, we have this thing in city schools that a lot of kids aren't prepared academically. Can you talk about your academic preparation, how intentional you were about being prepared for that next level? We prepared for football for the next level, but talk about how you prepared yourself academically to be successful in college.
Um, Junior year, at Eastmoor Academy, we had opportunity to take a class at Otterbein, and that experience I really liked it. It gave us some, college credit,
Mhm.
and was it was also an opportunity for me to see if that was a major interest, if that makes sense, for an interest in major for when I go to college. So it was like a philosophy type class, and I wanted to make sure that I took that, and I feel like outside of that, I had an opportunity to be in the college credit plus program, and so the next year, my senior year, I took class at Columbus State, and it was like a full curriculum type thing. You took basically 4 classes. I took 4 classes. Fall semester and spring semester, I had 1 class at Eastmoor, and I think that aspect of it was important to me because it showed me like how rigorous the curriculum is and the differences between high school and college,
Mhm.
and also commuting and dealing with or being in the same space as adults during class. So you have to conduct it, you have to take it serious because you're in an environment where this is with people that you're setting up your life, and
Right.
it put it in perspective for me.
That's good. That's good. What are some of your career goals right now, and talk about what you're doing to pursue those? I know you got a couple good internships and full-time employment. Talk about those goals.
Um, right now, at Ohio State, I'm studying fashion retail. Um, I would like to be within a space where I could be a merchandiser or a buyer. So at this point in time, I'm working at Soul Classics. It's a boutique located in the short north. Although I'm not merchandising, I do digital marketing where I promote different shoes, and I use as a face on our web page, and I mean on our Instagram page and our website, just to basically provide insight and be that bridge to customers. Um, Outside of that, I'm working with the Columbus Fashion Alliance in the Future of Fashion program, which is similar to like a mentorship, but it's also providing teenagers with a curriculum and like an intro internship of how like corporate fashion offices work and how a brand operates. So it's broken down into different categories. I had the opportunity to be the marketing lead. Right now, I would say that my goal is to further establish myself within Columbus as an influencer, as a face, and as a fashion personality. Um, I feel like one thing I did not understand, and not to go back, but that was a big part, and that's what I understand now is the power of networking and branding.
Mhm.
Like when kids, one thing I feel like I have to say that because it's a true testimony for me. One thing that I do not want kids to do when they play sports is feel like it was all on the coach and the coaching staff to provide them with the future or make sure they get into school. You have to make sure that you develop your brand. You have to make sure that you prepare yourself and develop those skills, like transferable skills that allow you to network and be able to, okay, this is what I do, and this is what I can bring to the table. Because when you go to college and when you're looking for a college, honestly, like the coaches can only put you in position. They can only do so much. After that, you have to carry the torch. You have to hold your end of the bargain, and you have to literally care about your future more than anybody else. Literally care about your future more than anybody else. Don't blame your coach because they didn't do this. You got to make sure that you email. You got to make sure when you go on visits or wherever you go, you have to tell who you are. And that's what I've been doing. So like anytime I see it's an opportunity, I'm talking to somebody. I'm making sure that I have questions prepared. if I go to an event that has this type of person that I know that, oh yeah, you work at this company. Oh yeah, so give me a little insight of what you do those type of spaces. What type of jobs do you do? What's the work environment like? And also making sure that they know your name. Hi, I'm Miicah Coleman. This is what I do, this and that. I wanted to provide a little bit more insight because the outside world is large, and it's pretty tough. It gets tough. But when you show that you're genuine curiosity and want to develop, this is what I found. People are they're lenient on help. Like they want to help. They want to see other people win.
That's some great advice for young athletes, and you kind of summed it all up in a nutshell, and I think that biggest thing is that it's on you. It's really on you.
Mm-hmm.
And you and you said you didn't recognize that then, but the reality is you did. You just didn't see it, because all you're doing now is because of what you saw. Because the Bible says this: all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord, that are called according to His purpose. So all those things you've done and are continuing to do, they're all working together, for God's good. And so I want to applaud you for just being that young man of substance, that young man of presence that other young men can look up to. They can see to say, I want to be like Miicah. Just like Alex Coleman passed the torch on to you, you did a great job of passing on to the next. And that's how we have to keep this thing going, keep building, keep getting better and better. And you said something really great, that everyone can win, and everybody wants somebody to win. We're not enemies. We're not enemies. We all trying to win, in this thing. So I want to appreciate your time, and I'm just looking forward to seeing what God's going to continue to do in your life. So Miicah, thanks for your time. I appreciate you. Be blessed.
I appreciate you too. Be blessed as well.